Now, Brian May's here. So, Brian has got this new book out, okay? It's a photography book, and it's a 3D photography book. And I thought, oh, okay, this is quite interesting. So this is going to be old stuff digitized. But no, not true. Brian, how long have you owned a 3D camera for?
Most of my life, really, since I was about 12 years old.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I always carried a 3D camera with me of some kind on tour, so I was snapping away. And I didn't have any thoughts that it would be a book or anything. I didn't know I would do anything with it. You know, it was just for my own amusement. But the idea came, you know, wouldn't that be interesting if I could share that with the world, you know, the kind of backstage stuff. And it's 3D, so you get a much more intimate feeling from it, you know, it's very evocative. So about a couple of years ago, we thought, okay, we'll try and do this. And my archivist, the guy who looks after all my stuff and photos and everything, ransacked my house and found hundreds of these pictures, which I didn't even realise I still had.
What else did he find?
What else did he find? I'll talk about that later.
There's another book there. That's the big seller.
You know what? There's plenty of books. Yeah. So we found, you know, we found it. Basically, we brought it all into the digital domain, edited, you know, made it cleaned up and everything, and the book took shape. And the hardest thing was to know what to leave out, really, in the end.
It's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, if this one is a hit, you could always do another. Of course, you could. I'm sure there's many books around, but it's. I mean, I just want to take it home tonight, but I can't because I'm going to cancel everything with my family and go to Cheryl's gig. So I'll take it. I want to take it to the gig, and I just, with a nice glass of wine or something, and just it's one of those books you just want to spend time with. It's stunning. And of course, Queen, ironically, were notoriously shy off stage and around stage, but because you
especially Freddie, really, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Now you had excellent access to the band because you were in it.
I actually was in there.
Yeah. So that's probably the best access one can have, don't you think, to a band?
Yeah.
That's why Chris Evans.
It is nice, yeah.
No laminate required.
That's right. Yeah, I was kind of there, and yeah, it's nice because I mean, Freddie did kind of freeze up around cameras and stuff, as you know. But I was always there with my camera, and we were all shooting each other, so it's very relaxed. The pictures you see in here, and nobody's ever seen this stuff before, which is great. It's all new.
I love you got Madison Square Gardens here empty. I think Art Stadium is beautiful when they're empty. They're almost more beautiful, and then they start to come to life like a new day, don't you think?
Yeah.
Stunning stuff. And also it's got that sort of grainy, sort of almost insipid, almost pallid sort of 60s 70s colour about it. Like the whole thing has had too much sun, which in a way it had, hadn't it? Do you know what I mean? As a time.
Yeah, that's right. It's very evocative. And the 3 dimensions, you know, this is what I bang on about. I've never understood since I was a kid why everybody doesn't do 3D the whole time, because it's so amazing to actually kind of look through the window and be there. You could feel like you could touch people. There's a great picture of Freddie doing his makeup here, which obviously it was completely kind of informal, and you know, he had no idea. He's very unself-conscious, and you just feel like he's there, you know. And for me, it's quite an emotional thing to see that.
But
Cheryl's
also,
just been looking at that.
As always, when a photograph is taken by somebody you like, love, trust, or all three, you are so different in front of a camera.
Yeah, it's different. There's a picture of him taking a picture of me as well, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to look for that. One day I'm going to find that picture that he took on his Polaroid camera.
Well, here is one of you looking more relaxed than I've ever seen you. So obviously this isn't a selfie, isn't it? Because selfies didn't exist.
No, well, I have. There are some selfies in here, strange stuff. There's a couple of 3D selfies, which I took about 1969 in here. So yeah, the idea was kind of there. But of course you couldn't see them instantaneously. In those days you had to send the stuff off to be processed, and you didn't know what you'd taken. So things changed a lot with the land.
And how beautiful is Roger, by the way?
He's very beautiful.
Who doesn't fancy Roger in that
I know.
really fancy Roger Taylor.
As do I.
I fancy him more.
No.
I do.
No.
Sorry.
Really?
Massively.
There's things we did not know about Chris Evans here.
But this book will bring them all out in everyone, let me tell you. And look at this,
great.
pictures of toys, classic period toys. What's this? What's going on here?
Oh, this is amazing, yeah, because we toured kind of behind the Iron Curtain, and no one was able to do that before we went. And we found this incredible old toy shop, which will last in my memory forever. And I bought a few of the toys, these old tin toys, you know, which run around on clockwork. And so there's a couple of pictures in there. There are all kinds of kind of off-stage moments. There's cars and ships and planes and dressing rooms.
Yeah, because you're mostly on the move for all of it, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah. And there's us freezing to death in the winter cold in the States, which we always did on tour. You know, every time we toured for months on end, it was freezing cold, and it's all in there.
It's weird, isn't it? What happens in between the 2 hours of rock and roll every night? It's really strange, isn't it?
Yeah. A lot of radio stations, I tell you.
Yeah, sorry about that, not my fault. But you know, I love a vehicle, and you got your private planes here, and you got this, that, and the other. You got your trains, and you got those fantastic sort of really garish kitsch interiors, aren't you? I mean, look at that. The inside of that bus makes you just want to throw up, doesn't it?
It's very evocative, isn't it? Yeah, I would use the same words.
But the whole 3D phenomenon, I didn't realise it dated back to then, but it dates back further because it was used in the war, wasn't it? 3D photography.
It dates back to the 1830s when Charles Wheatstone discovered the principle. It doesn't date back to Leonardo da Vinci, who never quite twigged it, but this guy called Charles Wheatstone, who was an English scientist, invented the Wheatstone Bridge as well. He discovered that if you present the your two eyes with two slightly different pictures corresponding to what they would have seen if they were at the original place, you recreate that feeling of depth. And stereoscopy is an amazing thing. I mean, you've seen it in Avatar, you know.
Stereoscopy.
But Victorian stereoscopy, this is kind of Victorian stereoscopy, what you see in the book, and it's the best. There is nothing quite like it, because it doesn't give you headaches.
This book is beautiful, because last week we had Nick Mason talking about the Pink Floyd exhibition at the V&A, which I don't know if you've been to.
Yeah, I was there on the opening.
How good is that, by the way?
Good, yeah. I wanted to see some VR.
Yeah, I know you did. So virtual
it's
reality.
great.
Now you've made a VR film as well. Now listen to this. Okay, everybody. Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to turn the music off. Shh. Okay, around Britain, around the world. If you're listening on the internet, shh. Okay, stop. Turn anything off. Shh. Okay, because Brian is now going to tell us the name of his virtual reality Queen theme film. It's the best title of a film I've ever heard. Ever in my life. Brian, go.
Well, it's called VR the Champions,
VR
of course.
The It's all over. There's nothing else to see here. We're done. That was radio. That was rock and roll. That was music. Goodbye.
See, I've gone all shy now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
We
are the champions, my friends.
You're going to like it when we eventually get it out, because we flew a VR rig above the audience on wires, and nobody's ever done that before. It's like 17 GoPros, and so when you've got your VR kit on, and I actually make a VR kit centered around this as well. You've got your VR kit. You're kind of flying above the audience, and you're seeing us playing in Barcelona. But also, the wires go over the stage, so you fly over the stage, and now you're with us, and you're looking out into the audience and getting the view that we get when we're looking, when we're playing. So it's going to be something great. I think people will love it.
Okay, and for some of rock and roll, some of the artists have actually been that high. Right, 8:45.
Hey, this is very...
Here's Amber Riley now. Brian May with us. Brian's book Queen in 3D is out next Thursday, 25th of May.